Hey guys and gals, Undead. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, but I want to talk a little bit about the drama involving Bungie and Destiny 2 right now. If you don't know what's going on, they laid off over 8% of their development team for Destiny 2 about a day and a half ago now. It sucks to see. It really does, because this development team lost a lot of legendary people. It lost Michael Salvatore, who is a legendary video game composer. He is known for making the music for the Halo franchise, for Destiny, and the dude pours his heart and soul into his music and into his work, and you can hear it whenever his particular piece of music play in the video games. Dude is a living legend. They fired another composer, including the guy, which is the guy who made Deep Stone Lullaby. I don't really like that track, but it sucks to see the guy go because he really did pour some passion into that particular musical piece. They fired two community managers, multiple gameplay testers, and other developers, and they basically just swept through there like a wildfire. And these people weren't getting a 2 week notice of, hey, we're going to have to let you go eventually, get your affairs in order. No, these guys were literally getting emails sent out to them when they were in their car on the way to work in the morning. They were walking in the building and their access badges were being revoked and weren't working. By the time 10 o'clock hit, probably, they were literally being told to leave the building. These guys were scrambling to get their stuff together. And then you have the douchebag that is the CEO for Bungie, Pete Parsons, if that's his correct title, came out with a very tone-deaf statement saying, yeah, we're sorry to see these guys go. There's some great friends we've known along the way. By the way, if anybody's hiring, feel free to hire these guys. They're talented people. Bo, like he just came out and basically was like, yeah, I wish there was something we could have done. You're the boss. Like you just up and fired these people, and a lot of people are saying, oh, it might be because of Sony with cutting costs and all this stuff, because whenever um Bungie was with um Activision, they had what was known as a high burn rate. If you don't know what a burn rate is, it's how much cash they spend on like just stupid stuff. Like Bungie was burnt. Like, say you spend 100,000 and you only make like 75,000 back. Like there's you're losing money no matter what. That's what Bungie was doing. They would burn money. They were burning more money than they were making, and that's why Activision was kind of looking at them whenever and Activision was kind of happy to get rid of them, and whenever they started heavily monetizing Destiny 2 was whenever they were with Activision. And now there was Sony, and Sony's looking at them and saw, hey, these guys are running a super successful, highly monetized live service game. Show us how to make that. They basically just saw Bungie as a golden goose, spent $3.6 billion on their development studio, and leapt at the opportunity. And then you hear about an earnings call that went on where Bungie's revenue for 2023's fiscal year was down over 45%. And I'm sure some of that had to do with the absolute dumpster fire that was the Lightfall expansion, with their lackluster seasonal model, with their player retention being at an all-time low because the only content they put into the game is cosmetic. And I've spoke about this in previous videos. Bungie is super big on reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce the amount of content in the game, reuse it constantly as much as you possibly can. That includes reskinning weapons, locations, and reusing characters. We got freaking Cade coming back. Really, he's been dead since 2018, and just recycling it over and over and over again. Look at their seasonal model. Look at their Eververse store. Most of the stuff in that store is literally reskins. All the armor and stuff you get with your seasonal expansions, or seasonal seasons rather, and your yearly expansions are reskins. It's lazy, and their revenue is down and stuff like this, and their player retention is actually at an all-time low right now. The game almost died back in 2017 and again in 2019. It's almost died multiple times, and I think this is going to kill Destiny because you have lost some super talented people for this development team, people who had passion and were trying to do their best for this actual studio. And they don't always make the right decisions, but that wasn't on them. If you've ever heard me talk about firing people in the past, I've joked about firing one developer, and it was because of some issue with the game, just some mechanic, and it was like, I said, man, that dude needs to be fired because it's an annoying mechanic. The only developer I've actively called for firing is actually, I mentioned it with Joe Blackburn because the dude doesn't know what he wants. And I've mentioned it multiple times with Luke Smith because that dude did need to go. That was one of the worst leadership positions I've ever seen. He was extremely unhealthy for this game. And when the moment he left, things started to get better, and then someone else stepped in, and it started to get even worse. And this isn't because of them. It's because of higher-ups and executives like Pete Parsons and other people at the top who make these stupid, boneheaded decisions like, I don't know, overly monetizing the game, not over-delivering because players will expect that all the time. We can pump out a mid-tier mediocre expansion and they'll just buy it because they know they have to have it. Look at Lightfall. Look at Beyond Light. Look at Shadowkeep. Like, it's very obvious. People were saying that Activision was the problem, and I said in a previous video, Activision was never the problem. Bungie is their own worst enemy when it comes to this game. And there have been multiple reports of people that were on the development team literally coming out and saying, we have been begging them to allow us to do these changes in the game. Players want this. They need this. But because it can't be monetized and because it would increase us allowing us to get stuff that we want, and it would take away from a little bit of playtime that looks good to their investors and stuff like that, they don't, Bungie's higher-ups didn't allow that. And it's very clear. We had people that were, even though I'm not a fan of some of the community people for Bungie, the only one I really liked was DMG and Cosmo. They're pretty cool dudes. Even though they're a little bit tone deaf on certain things as well, because they are basically just a mouthpiece for the higher-ups. They have to do and say what they want. Some of these guys fought for accessibility for multiple things in the game, multiple changes that made it easier for us to play and enjoy. I mean, something as simple as UI changes, controller changes, just certain things that made it so that it was better for us. And those people are gone now. And what really struck a nerve with a lot of people is whenever they fired all these people, they basically said, we kept the right ones. We kept the right people for the job. You fired a video game composer that has been with this company since the late 90s. He has been making music for you guys since the late 90s. And you axed him like it was nothing. You would be lucky to have this guy on your team composing music for you because you can recognize his music in an instant. It's very apparent when it is Michael Salvatore's score. It seems like you just went through, found a bunch of highly paid people, and just got them out of there as a way to cut costs. Whenever I think the executives should be the ones that are being fired for this because you guys are making $250,000 or more a year, if not way more than that, considering you're a CEO or a CFO or whatever you are. I'm guaranteeing that we're not going to get a TWAB on Thursday or a TWID or whatever it is now because the person that wrote those is gone. They axed them. You even see people like DMG and multiple other developers that used to work for Bungie are coming out of the woodwork and saying, yeah, I got a story. You want to hear it? You want to hear about the toxic work environment? How basically the old guard runs everything? Like the head developers and stuff like that, and the higher-ups, the bigwigs, they run everything. The developers do all the work, and the other guys just sit back and just reap the rewards. It's disgusting to see. It truly is. And it seems like they're doing this because of the revenue loss. Like I said, it doesn't help any that you released a lackluster expansion, one of the worst expansions, and I even called it that in my video where I said, I do not recommend Lightfall. It is one of the worst expansions I've ever played. I have no reason to go and visit Neomuna. It is a garbage planet. I went and visited it the other day just to turn in some strand stuff. I dropped my little fragments or whatever they are there, my little threadling things. I got my upgrade and I left. This whole game is about monetization and making money. Is Bungie really this hard up for cash? Because every single thing that they put into the game now is paid. There is nothing worth buying in this game. Their revenue's down 43%, yet you see people buying cosmetics like mad. You see them buying the seasonal stuff because you have to have it to play the game. You go and look on Steam. How much is it to buy all of the Destiny 2 DLC right now that you have to fully enjoy the game? It's just under $600. And you have to have it to fully play the game. That is a disgusting cost for DLC. If you play World of Warcraft, you buy the expansions and then you pay a subscription, but it is worth it because there are tens of thousands of hours of content in World of Warcraft. And there is so much more to do in World of Warcraft. You know, an actual MMO, which is what Destiny claims to be. That game is not highly monetized like Destiny is. Even though there are opportunities for it. Because you're playing a third-person MMO. You get to see your character constantly. Yet in Destiny, it's $20 for an armor set where you can only see yourself from here down in first person. Or when you look at your feet. Like, it's really and truly disgusting. These guys are making money hand over fist, and you go in and you wipe out a chunk of your dev team because player retention and revenue isn't what you want it to be. You release garbage, we're going to call it garbage and not play it. You're going to act like you don't care about the game. We're just not going to play it. I've said that before in a previous video talking about how Bungie just, if they can't monetize it, they're not going to put in the game and stuff like with their Crucible armor set and their ritual sets. Oh, player interaction with these particular sets of armor and just usage rates are super low. It looks like garbage, and everything in the Eververse store looks better. Like, it doesn't make sense. Of course, something's not going to have engagement. Oh, well, Gambit's engagement's been super low, so we're not going to touch it anymore. Because you haven't updated it since it came out. That's why. You had a couple changes a few years back when you tried those new armor sets and the new modes. It sucked donkey balls, and that was basically it. You guys just left it to rot. You have stuff like the Vanguard playlist that just it's lazy. You sprinkle in a couple new battlegrounds every season, and you call it content when you literally just ripped it from previous seasons. You look at stuff like the event going on right now. The haunted lost sectors and stuff like that. For Festival of the Lost, aka Festival of the Cost. Bro, we've had this same event for years. It is literally a reskin of something we have had before. All you did was slap some pink camo on the particular weapons for this event and you called it good. There's nothing new here. Yet you go in the Eververse store and there's a couple $100 worth of Halloween crap. Like, why would I bother playing this? I've played Festival of the Lost this year. I've played it for 2 days. I played it once on the first day that it came out, and then I played it last night for a little while I was waiting for something to download on my computer. That's it. I haven't touched it. It's the same thing we've had before. Same as like seasonal events like the Dawning. It's basically just, it's a showing for the Eververse store. It's to get you on the game to buy crap out of the Eververse store for extra cash. Bungie as well had to delay their next expansion. God dang it, what is it? The Final Shape. That's how little I care about this right now. They had to delay that until June of next year, which means the next season is going to be 7 months long. Bo. We've had long seasons before, and they've had to delay DLC because of just reasons. Hey, we're going to push it back a week. We having some issues. It's going to be another week after this. We're sorry, guys. There's some game-breaking bugs. That's fine. But when you literally delay an expansion 7 months later, actually, no, it's going to be 8 months now, if not longer. and you just fired a chunk of your development team that was working on that, and they already said that playtesters that were playing the DLC early and just testing stuff for it have said the reception has been good, not great. When this is supposed to be your big end of a saga in the series, I want amazing. I don't want good or great. I want amazing. And when it comes out, this better be the most polished, well-rounded, best DLC. I don't want to see a reused location, weapon, character aside from freaking Cade. I don't want to see any of that. I want all new stuff because you're going to have plenty of time to work on it. I have not pre-ordered the final shape, and I'm not going to. I'm probably going to wait a little while if I even play it because, as I said, in December, Tarkov wipes. I'm playing Tarkov right now. I got back into Left 4 Dead. I've been playing Vampire Survivors. I've been playing so many other games than Destiny because, as I've said in a previous video, it really doesn't take much to bring me away from Destiny right now because there's nothing to go for. It's a slog. It is a seasonal model that is unfun to play, lazy content, and the Bungie executives know exactly what they're doing whenever they put this stuff in the game. Just get players in, get their player time up, make us look good. And I'll be honest, Sony's probably freaking out right now because the backlash towards Bungie is going to be extreme, and this is not going to go away. This is not going to go away anytime soon because you wiped out a bunch of legendary people, and you were supposed to be getting ready to start actually doing teasing stuff for the final shape. And Sony is probably looking right now being like, your revenue is down 45%. Your player retention is at an all-time low. We gave you $3.6 billion to show us how to make live service games. We invested all this money in you. We pumped you up. And we heard that you were a great studio, and you're burning to the ground. You are burning more cash than you bring in. You are doing a terrible job so far. And it's apparent. This also shows that Sony is maybe a little bit of the problem. They maybe have a small hand in this because they're like, hey, you guys got to cut some costs. Like, sorry, you got to do it. They were literally firing people before their benefits were able to be rolled over. The last day to apply for health insurance in the United States, as far as I know, is Halloween, October 31st. That's at my job. I applied for it. As soon as open enrollment happened, it started. They got rid of people before they could re-up for their health insurance through this company or through their benefits or for their stocks and stuff like that for their when you could purchase it during certain seasons and stuff like that. That's how it is at my job. You got to wait for certain times of the year to purchase stock. And they were getting rid of these people so their benefits did not roll over. They were getting rid of people on certain things so they did not have to give them a severance or for their retirement. Even though they are giving these guys, I think it's 3 months of severance pay and a couple of other things just to make sure that they're good for a little while. But, dude, Christmas is in 2 months. You literally are firing these people and expecting them to find a job in the game development field right now, right before Christmas. Most of the people that are working on games for the holidays, they're already hired and they're on their way. No one's going to hire these people around the holidays. Like, you know how hard it is? That's like me bringing in a new employee at work around the holidays and trying to train them around the holidays. There's nothing worse than trying to do that. It's hard trying to teach someone under pressure. Hey, we got to get this game out by December 20th. You better learn fast. Like, it's a disgusting thing to me. And my heart does go out to these guys. It sucks to see someone lose their job, even if it is deserved. It still sucks. That's their livelihood. That's how they put food on their table. These people have wives, husbands, kids, a dog. They got all these bills to pay and all this stuff. And a lot of these guys I think Bungie is based out of Seattle, if I remember right, or somewhere else. Seattle ain't cheap. It's not. I actually gamed with a buddy of mine who lives in Seattle, and it's pretty expensive over there where he lives. So stuff is not cheap. And these guys are literally losing their livelihoods, and they lost it through a freaking email. Half these guys weren't even fired in person. They were literally sent, and did you get the memo? They were sent an email and said, you're gone, turn in your badge, turn in all your Bungie stuff, and get out, essentially. I am so ready for the NDAs to start being broken and for some real stuff to start coming out. I'll be honest, if they got to, go in there, leak some stuff. Leak the source code. Just really just stick it to them. Just go Office Space on it. Just screw the system. Just start doing whatever you want to do. Just really just wring Bungie's upper management out by doing this stuff. It's not going to hurt the player base at this point. It's not, because the player base is at an all-time low. This is going to drive it even lower, and it is so exciting to see, because people are finally waking up to find out that Bungie is their own worst enemy. It's been apparent since Destiny 1 came out. Activision was cracking the whip on certain things because of their insane schedule they wanted this game to be on, to be putting out content at such a rate, and for their microtransactions and stuff to bring in extra revenue. And it's apparent to see that Bungie was the cause of a lot of this stuff, and a cause of a lot of the problems, especially the upper management. It's not hard to listen to your player base. Sure, things would be expensive to put in the game, but it'd be much more rewarding to put something in the game that's expensive and to maintain your player base and to gain goodwill with your player base. Because I guarantee you, if I have to pay for something, if it's good enough, I'll pay for it again. If you put something in the game that keeps me hanging on, even if I got to pay for it, if it's that enjoyable, I would be willing to purchase it again. That's why I regret buying Lightfall, because it's a trash expansion. It was so bad. It was one of the most negatively received expansions aside from Shadowkeep. And even Warmind and Curse of Osiris were reviewed better than this expansion was. That's pretty crazy. It's crazy. It truly is crazy how out of touch the upper management is at this company, the old guard. And it just seems like it's just pure greed. Like, a lot of the changes and stuff that they make to this game, I've said that in the past. They had there was an issue a few years back where Bungie was throttling XP to make players play longer and to keep development time up. Or how whenever Destiny 2 first launched, you did not have a Sparrow until you finished the campaign. They did that to drag out playtime, to look good for their investors, and to make you play the game longer. Your reward for beating the game was a Sparrow. And it was very apparent. Like, I beat the campaign with another character and got one from collections just so I could have a Sparrow. Like, just stuff like that, or how they throttle the XP so you would level up slower so you play more time in the game. There's no freaking way an actual dev came up with that change. Or making drop rates on certain things extremely slow, or just extremely low, rather. I mentioned that around like holiday events and stuff like that. There's always seems to be a bug for the first day or two of an event where either a certain item that is required to progress a quest does not drop, loot does not drop like it is supposed to, certain things do not work that would allow you to complete the quest or whatever you're trying to progress, to drag out playtime, to slow down progress so you'll play more. I said that whenever there was an issue with Spectral Pages dropping again. That happens every freaking year for Festival of the Lost. For the first 2 days, there's an issue with Spectral Pages dropping. And I put on the feed where Bungie addressed that, hey, yeah, we're looking into an issue with this. And I said, I swear to God, it's a feature. You guys do this every year. I got a couple hundred upvotes on that comment. Like, it's very apparent that the upper management is very out of touch. And I'm seeing stuff as well where they were talking about how Sony is going to basically consolidate all their resources and have people that are going to help, that are like, there's trying to get a PR team for all of the games that are under like this live service umbrella of games that Sony is trying to get Bungie to help work with. So you're going to bring in someone new to be a community manager for the Destiny 2 community, someone who does not play the game, who doesn't know what they're talking about, someone who doesn't even know the community that they are going to be managing and keeping watch over. That's brilliant. That's real brilliant. Do not buy the final shape. I like I said, I'm going to wait if I even decide to buy it, because at this point, I'm done with Destiny. I've outgrown it. I'll be pushing 30 next year, and I've played it since 2015. I've had my fun. I've moved on to bigger and, frankly, better games. This is the nail in the coffin for a lot of people. And it's yet again, my heart does go out to these Bungie devs. I'm hoping you guys find a home at a development studio that actually treats you with the kindness and respect you deserve, that will actually allow you to use your voice and your talent. I've said that before in past videos when I was even criticizing Bungie. They literally have one of the most talented development studios in the entire industry. This game could be so perfect. It truly could. But at the end of the day, they don't get to use their talent because it can't be monetized. Or because the absolute idiots at the top, just all they see, and I mentioned that in my Lightfall video, all they care about are ones and zeros. Is it making money? It's not. Make it make money, or we're going to cut the costs. It's basically that people are using the thing, the phrase "trim the fat." Bo, you just took the whole loin off. There was no trimming the fat. You literally just chopped off one of the best cuts here. Like, it's an embarrassing look, and they deserve every bit of hate they're getting for this and every bit of just backlash from their community. And what's funny, not a single bit of it has been directed at the devs. Not a single bit of it. I have been following this. I was hiding at work, scrolling my Twitter, just looking for stuff, and not a single one of the threads, people were calling out the upper management. Hey, Pete Parsons needs to go. They will. I've noticed that executives will fire everyone and cut everyone's salary and every cost but theirs. If you're an executive of a company and you're making more than $250,000 a year, for one, that is a gross amount of money to be making, considering you just sit on your butt in an office all day and do nothing. And two, everybody gets fired but the executives, and that doesn't sit right with me. It's like the Bobby Kotick thing. Dude's worth almost $1 billion. They would fire everybody but him because he's the head honcho. Like, they're like, oh, he's bringing in a lot of money for us. Whatever. Everyone gets fired but executives, and I just, eat the rich. just go for that. It's not a good look. But for a final time, I do hope these devs land on their feet. They landed a talented development studio. I cannot wait to see what these guys do. Do I think Destiny is dead after all of this? Nah, you can't really kill a live service game as long as people are still playing it. You can't really kill it. Destiny's not going anywhere, but the heart and soul of Destiny has withered away over the course of roughly 36 to 48 hours. And I do think that Marathon better be a banger, because if not, this is the only source of revenue that Bungie has. If they lose this, they lose everything. So either Marathon better be a banger, or that whatever other, some kind of game that they're making for Sony better be an absolute banger, because they have nothing left. And it'd be a darn shame to see this development studio go under less than a year after being acquired by the biggest entertainment company in the entire world, Sony, for a cool $3.6 billion. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yet again, I'm pretty disgusted about the situation. I wanted to say my piece because For one, I enjoy criticizing this kind of stuff because it's not a good look. It was a game that has been a big part of my life for the better part of almost 10 years. And it just sucks to see this thing going the way of the dodo, pretty much. Like, there is no care for anything. And this is showing a blatant disregard for the player base and for the actual development team who made this game what it was. But that's for now, guys. If you enjoyed this, a like and a sub is always appreciated. If you did make it to the end of this video, sorry I haven't been uploading lately. I've been really busy with work. We've been missing a lot of people, so I've been filling in for them. But that's it for now, guys. Stay safe. Give those Bungie devs a follow. If you're a developer out there and you're watching this, if you just so happen to, hire these guys. Please do. Get them in there. Let them get their ideas out. I promise you, you guys are gonna have some of the most talented developers in the entire gaming industry, and that is a statement I will 100% stand by. But that's for now, guys. Peace.